Anyway, while you were sleeping, there was this, I would say, a declaration by Donald Trump that he's pretty much just going to outlaw transgenderism, like just in a general sense, which is going to be dangerous, in my opinion, because it's too blanket. You got to be a little more specific. There's a few things I'm sure Americans will be fine with, but some of that stuff, it's going to be a problem. But I'm going to let this guy, Mr. Milk Dud, explain the story to you from First Post, okay?
And staying in the United States, incoming President Donald Trump says he will end transgender lunacy once he takes office in January. Now, speaking in Phoenix, Arizona on Sunday, Trump vowed to create policies to only recognize two genders, male and female. And in an apparent reference to gender-affirming surgery, Donald Trump said that he will end the mutilation of children with a stroke of his pen.
With the stroke of my pen on day one, we are going to stop the transgender lunacy. And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation, get transgender out of the military and out of
didn't know a lot was said at that
elementary
turning
schools
point
and middle
thing.
schools and high school.
If you didn't know.
And we will keep men out of women's sports.
Hey, y'all hit the like button.
And that will likewise be done on day one. Should I do day one, day two, or day three? How about day one, right?
Now, this is not the first time Trump has railed against transgender rights. In fact, he aggressively ran television ads during his campaign mocking Vice President Kamala Harris for her support of transgender rights. And in the run-up to the presidential election, Donald Trump pledged to impose restrictions on trans students in schools. His policies could affect the use of preferred pronouns, bathrooms, and locker rooms by students.
Are we still doing
Moreover,
pronouns?
The incoming president believes that any doctor or hospital providing gender-affirming care should be banned from practice. And when it comes to sports, Donald Trump embraces his anti-trans mantra of not allowing biological men in women's sports.
All right, hold on now. He said that the hospitals that perform gender-affirming care should be banned. I don't know if that's 100% truth on that one, but that's a slippery slope, because adult people at least have a choice. I don't think that they should be doing that with young teenagers and 12-year-olds and all that. That's just my opinion. But if you're 25, 26 years old and you want to go ahead and chop off the sausage, I mean, it's your sausage, you know? Your body, your choice, right? So I don't know about that part. That just seems like if you ban everyone from doing it, now you'll have an outcry of people who do, at least as adults, should have the right to freely chop off sausage. So I wouldn't do that myself, because I appreciate mine and I like where I'm at with it. But if a person wants to do that, you know, I'm not going to say who am I to stop you, but I'm just saying I think the government should at least allow people, if you want to do that, yeah. I don't think you should ban the hospital from doing anything because somebody wanted that done. Now, if we're talking about minors and all of that, okay, I get that part. But any hospital that performs it. So I'm gonna have to fact check this First Post thing, because a lot of times they'll take Trump clips and they'll say that he said something in more of a blanket sense. And then I go find out that he was talking about one particular group of people, or that there's more context to it. So it's very tough to listen to anybody talk about Trump stuff, because unless you see the whole whatever the hell it was, they be leaving too much out. And that's on both sides, the ones that like him and the ones that don't like him. They be leaving stuff out so that they can give you their little spin on the shit. So I'm going to let this little guy finish this thing up, but I'm just being honest. I don't think trying to just ban transgenderism in America is the smartest day one move if you want to have some level of smoothness. Now, truth be told, there's a very small percentage of the population that actually identifies as trans anything. So if they're the only ones fighting it, it's not going to be a big fight. But I'm sure there's going to be family members and the Leviticus and all the people that wear the pride stuff and, you know, all of the advocates and everybody. They're going to come out and they're going to try to hold, you know, Trump to the fire over that. Now, if that's cool with y'all, I have no qualms with it. I just don't think that, like, what if somebody's in transition now? Like, they still got some appointments left to get things done. Like, they're prepping and they're in prep, or maybe they just got, I don't know. How do you deal with those? You know, I'm sure there's just a few of them. But the blanket statement of just outlawing it, like, what are you going to do? You're going to lock people up for being that? Like, you're going to put them in jail for it? Or you're going to put them in, he's probably going to put them in a mental health institution. That's what he would do. He would say that they're crazy and then lock them up and use whatever that law is. It's not Murphy's Law. I can't think of it. Was it Baker Act? The Baker Act? And he'll put them in a facility saying that they're crazy because they want to be transgender. So watch that. That's a move he would pull. So you better not let him outlaw everything. Just for the kids. Just outlaw it for the kids, and let's just stay there.
I promise.
And the sports thing. That makes sense.
Last year, the radical left's gender insanity arrived right here in Salem when a man was allowed to transfer onto the Roanoke College women's swim team.
You the little girl in the back.
And I just met them backstage, the great swimmers. I didn't notice a male on that particular team. I didn't notice a male on that team. Perhaps I don't understand what's happening, but I didn't see any males on that team, believe me. But the brave members of the swim team stood up to the transgender fanatics, something new in our country.
Now, this part is an older video.
And I would say beautiful, but I'm not allowed to use that term anymore with women, because if you say beautiful, it means the end of your career in politics. You're not allowed to say a woman's beautiful, so I will not tell you how beautiful they are, but they are beautiful. But those strong, beautiful, intelligent women, they won.
The incoming commander-in-chief also plans to discharge transgender members of the U.S. military, deeming them medically unfit. His plans would likely include banning future recruitment of trans people in the military and gender-affirming care.
Hold up now. Did you hear that? Banning trans people in the military would mean discharging the ones that are currently there with a dishonorable discharge, saying that they're mentally unfit. That'll never work. Okay, it'll never work. I'm not saying he can't ban them, but it'll never work with him trying to dishonorably discharge them and send them. That's not going to work. People aren't going to let that happen. I mean, it sounds cool to you hardcore right-wing types, but nah, they're not going to do that. There's people that have a heart, and they're like, you know what? We let folks get this far into the military, and some of them, you know, they've completed trainings and they're entitled to whatever, you know, the ones that are in there. They're entitled to that. Don't do that. That's mean. Now, if you want to say, you know, I don't even know how to deal with this without getting myself in trouble. Let me say this. If you pass the physical part of the military, then who you sleeping with shouldn't matter. If you pass the sniper test and you're hitting that target at 1,000 yards or whatever, who you sleeping with shouldn't matter. So that's where I'm at with that. Some people are different.
Now, with Donald Trump reiterating his anti-trans rhetoric, anger and anxiety have become dominant emotions among rights activists and the LGBTQ plus community.
I don't think that I would be here today for this interview if I wasn't receiving the care that I do receive today. Without the care, I was really deeply depressed, lost, and unable to live a regular life. I think that.
Okay, regular life? But that's, all right, again, confusion has taken over. So now you have considered, I mean, she's passable, or he's passable, or that's passable, you know what I'm saying? But this is regular life? That's how you feel? I don't know. And to have to go through all that and whatever the process is, and having to get started in the medical situation, I don't know if that would be considered regular life or normal life, but it's a life. And if that's the life you want, you're entitled to it. But I don't consider that to be like a normal life. But so I don't know. I'm not upset. I'm just confused, man.
That's
like
what
some
we
of
all
these
want,
people.
is to be able to access care that will affirm our gender, allow us to flourish into who we are and live lives
That would look
that
like a
are
chick, though. That does look like a
loved
chick.
and
I'll be
cared
honest.
for.
I don't know about the shoulders
The
and
question
down, because, you know,
is,
sometimes you got to
who's
see the
best
whole
to make
body shot.
decision? It's the individual that's best to make the decision about their access and their doctor or whomever they're trying
I'm
to
not
access
sure
support
what this
from.
is.
I don't necessarily know that the federal government making that decision is a good idea, but I certainly don't think that we should have
And I mean race,
differences
gender, I
between
don't know
the
what this
states.
is.
I think each person should have the ability to access the support, the care, the resources that they need in order to live like all of us.
Now, a Washington Post survey says nearly 2 million people living in the United States identify as transgender, representing less than 1% of all adults. And now their future depends on Donald Trump, who could crush their hopes and dreams of living normal lives with his uncertain executive orders.
That doesn't seem like a normal life, though. Like, even if you just, like, you're not going through anything specifically because you're, like, anything in society, like having to take all the medicines and having to keep up on these treatments and having to spread or whatever that is they got to go through, that doesn't seem like a normal life to me. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm just confused. And I just be asking questions. And if it's 1% of adults, I'm not saying that 1% isn't important, but I don't know. But then why is that 1% all up in the schools and doing drag queen story hour? Why are we doing all that for 1%? I actually thought it was more than that. Now it doesn't make any sense to me. Shoot, 1% of the country is polygamous, or, you know, they're part of a cult. That doesn't mean that we got to put their thing on Front Street. So why do we? I don't know, man. Maybe I was under the impression that there was, like, I'd say maybe like 5% of the population. I didn't see them, but they were always in the news and always doing stuff. So I assumed that there was a lot more of them. But I don't know, man. I'm just going to be honest. Donald Trump has a way of doing things that can be very abrasive. And a lot of people are not going to like that. A lot of people are going to be, they're going to be against it. And if they're not against it at first, they'll become against it because it'll affect something that they hold dear or somebody that they know. And it'll be a lot of people that used to support Trump. They might go against him on that. You can't just kick people out of the military and give them a dishonorable discharge because you feel like it now. They got in the military when it was okay. If you want to let them go with a severance package or whatever the hell you want to do, or tell them that I don't know what to tell them, but I'm just saying you can't dishonorably discharge them and throw them into an insane asylum. That's not going to happen. In America, if that's what is attempted, we cannot let that happen. I'm not about all of the trans stuff myself, but I don't think that's right to kick people out of the military and put them in an insane asylum. Dishonorable discharge, no benefits, and they end up in a crazy house. I just think that's a bit much, considering whoever's there is there legally at this point. So if you want to say nobody else can come in that identifies as something else and start making a plan for the future, not totally against that, but I am definitely against him going in there and just saying anybody who's trans, y'all are now discharged from the military and you're considered mentally deranged, so we have to lock you up in an insane asylum until somebody thinks that you're cured of your gender confusion. Guys, that's a slippery slope. So I know there's a lot of right wingers that I know and on my channel, and we can't be that hard on people. We got to understand that some folks have different things going on in their mind, and they don't all necessarily need to spend the rest of their life behind bars because they're going through whatever they're going through. So, you know, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. But he's trying to impose restrictions on trans students in school, and that's a little interesting too. Like I said, I don't know. That's a confusing one. I'm gonna stay out of that. Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of that.